$205,000 in one real estate deal. Oh my God, Adam, you're such a goat. This is every day. It's literally nothing. We just hit a crazy, don't play. We just hit a crazy leg day. Yo, my legs look so bad. I'm on a bulk right now, bro, and I'm so not lean. It like hurts. But anyways, we get in there, bro. We got almost 9 plates on the hack squat on each side. We get in right. At 190 pounds, that's pretty good. Anyways, wow, am I getting sidetracked, bro. I am so bad at this. Let me dial in. $205,000 in one real estate deal. Oh my gosh, Adam, how did you do it? Literally light work, right? Pocket change. I'm gonna tell you guys and show you guys exactly how, right? If I instead chose not to refinance and keep this property, I could have sold this one deal, right? And made $850,000 in one deal on a flip, but I didn't. I chose to keep it for the lifetime cash flow because it's a multifamily property. I chose to keep it for the lifetime cash flow and make 1/4 of that because the dividends that it's going to pay me over the rest of my life is much more than $850,000. That $850,000 is great right now if I were to sell it, but we want to build a rental property portfolio that pays us for the rest of our life so we can be severely unemployed, so it can be 3 p.m. on a Wednesday and we're sitting here filming YouTube videos for a living. Not really for a living, but you see it. We out here. How did I do it? How did I find the deal? How did I buy the deal? How did I refinance the deal? I'm about to tell you guys. I'm about to take you guys through the entire process step by step so you can do it yourself. So that you can go out today ripping with this knowledge and you can find a fat ass deal and make a little light 205 grand in one deal, right? I make millions of dollars per year doing this with multiple different properties. This is just one deal that I want to break down and show you guys, and I'll show you guys the HUD, I'll show you guys the closing statement, I'll show you guys the checks, I'll show you guys depositing it into my account. And if you don't believe me, you're gonna get the address too as well. So great, you can go ahead and look up the address of the property. I'm gonna give you the address. You can go up and you can look at the entity who bought it and still owns it and see that it's a single member LLC and the kid owns it. So you're gonna be able to see all that to show that I'm legit because, oh my God, why would I get, why would I get on YouTube, bro, and talk about real estate if I didn't really do real estate, bro? How am I gonna run a mentorship program called Legacy Capital, right? Literally, like, Legacy Capital is insane. It's so insane, bro. What is Legacy Capital? It's a one-on-one mentorship. It's my one-on-one mentorship. I accept 5 to 10% of people who apply, right? And I teach you exactly what I do one-on-one. I sit down with you, right? You get 24/7 access to me and we find you deals and we make you a real estate millionaire quick as hell. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Let's get back to the deal at hand, right? The $205,000 in one deal. How did I do it? So it's a 7-unit property. It's a small to medium multifamily asset class, right? I love multifamily property. Multifamily property is what I own. I don't own any single family houses, right? I've bought tons of single family houses, but I never keep them because the numbers do not work for renting them and cash flowing, right? Unless you're buying a house for like 100K, the numbers don't work for single family houses. So I don't keep any single family houses. I buy anything over 6 units, right? So if you have a juicy 200 unit portfolio, let me cop that, right? So this property right here that I made the light 205,000 on, trying to make sure it focuses. Did it focus? I can't really see. Doesn't matter. Light 205,000 is a 7-unit property. 7 units on the property. Adam, where did you find the deal? Where did you find the deal? I'm gonna tell you exactly where I found the deal, exactly what I said to the seller to bag the deal at such a good price. And actually, I'll try to find the emails with the seller, maybe going back and forth so you guys could see how I negotiated the deal as well. So let me jump right into it. I'm done wasting your time. First thing I did was target older people who have a lot going on, who own multifamily, right, that they don't want to deal with anymore, okay? So I saw this property. Actually, this one, most of the time I do, marketing to find these types of properties, but for this one, I actually owned another house on the street, right? And I was driving down the street and I saw the 7-unit, right? And the thing was fried. I mean, like, it was okay. It wasn't in like that bad condition, but you could tell that the seller was letting it go. You could clearly tell that the seller was letting it go. How do I know that, Adam? What are the signs? Bro, the grass hadn't been cut. It looked like Jumanji in that bitch, bro. I had to get a machete and chop the grass to walk to the front door, right? Chipping paint everywhere, right? Window sills all beat up, like the little shutters, literally like all beat up, bro. Moss growing on the side of the property, fucking gutters hanging off, like the whole thing. And I'm like, time to tap in, right? So I did my research, I found the seller, and I called the seller of this property. I said, hey, what's going on? My name is Adam. I'm a local guy, local real estate guy in the area. I own another house on the street. I noticed your property at 141 High Street, right? North Attleboro, that's the address. 141 High Street, North Attleboro. I said, hey, I noticed your property and I would like to buy it. Are you interested in selling it? And it was an older person and they happen to own a chain of restaurants. So they're, not hurting for paper, but they spend a lot of time in the restaurant. They're older people, but they still work. They're going like crazy because they own a restaurant. And they were like, yeah, we're interested. Like we're getting older. We're putting a lot of time, effort, and resources into our restaurant. And one of the biggest factors that played into me getting such a smoking hot deal was the tenants. And that is why I love going after undervalued multifamily, because a lot of the times people will let property go for ridiculously low just based on who's currently living in there, right? So these people said to me, yeah, if you can give us a good enough offer, we'll sell it to you. We have a lot of tenants in there right now that are paying way under market. However, all of the tenants in that property were, well, I say all of them, but it was only a couple of them, but there was a couple of tenants in that property that had once worked for the restaurant chain that the sellers owned, right? And so the sellers and the tenants that lived in the property had a fairly good relationship, you could say, right? I mean, it's a owner-tenant relationship, so it is what it is. But my moral of the story here is, what I'm trying to tell you is that the seller did not want to be the one to raise the rent on the tenant, because the tenant was paying, less than half of what the rent should be, the market rent. Right? So the owner didn't want to be the one to do it, and that played into selling the property, because I was like, well, if you want to make more money on the building, you could either do a couple things. You could try to put more units, or you could try to improve condition, which those two they A, can't, or B, didn't want to do. So the only other option that leaves is to raise the rents on the tenants, right, to make more money. And they were like, I don't know if we should do that, because of the fact that we have a good relationship with the tenants. And then I broke the numbers out. I said, even if you did, right, this is why you got to learn how to underwrite deals, because this is a little power trip I went on in order to get them to, to sell it to me for a good price. I broke down the numbers. I said, even if you were with what your current mortgage is and what the current tenants are paying right now, this is how long it would take you to make the price that I'm about to pay you. Or even if you did go up on all the tenants and everybody was at market, this is how long it would take you to give me the price. I bought the building for $1 million. 100, like literally $1 million on the dot was the purchase price, right? So we did the math on how long, like they already A, kind of wanted to sell it, B, didn't want to raise the rents on the tenants, C, the property needed some repairs, and D, like this was just the icing on the cake to run the numbers, right? So perfect storm. I had originally made an offer at first that they were like, yeah, that's too low, we ain't doing that. And I was like, all right, bet, let me know. And I waited, right? Key to negotiation is to wait. Don't be afraid of losing a deal, right? There's always another deal. Don't be afraid of walking away, because that gives you the upper hand, that gives you the power. First initial offer, too low. And, they waited and, this and that. And I, caught the lady on a good day. And I didn't stop following up. I followed up with her for, 4 months. And I just made it as easy as possible for her. As easy as possible. So I had my attorney go and meet the sellers at their restaurant so that they did not have to sign closing documents on the day of the closing and miss a day of work from the restaurant. So I had my seller go there and sign everything with them like a week before we closed. And then our closing date, we just went on record, right? I took all the tenants, I inherited all the tenants, right? Everybody. I took on all the work. They didn't have to clean, their basement was full of shit. I told them, don't clean out the basement, just leave everything there, right? And I bought the property, right? I made it super easy for them. So I ended up buying the property. So Adam, where does the money come in, right? Where do you walk away with, you bought a building for $1 million, great, whatever. So I bought a building for $1 million, and the building when I bought it was worth probably 1.6. So I got a great buy on the front end. That's the first part of this. I got a really, really good buy, right? Then what I did is I held the property for 6 months, right? The property, when I bought it, again, as is, was worth 1.6 when I bought it on the day of me buying it, but I was only buying it for $1 million. 6 months later, the property's now worth $1,850,000, $1,850,000. There's the 850 split I was telling you about, right? So what do I do then? I go after I've got all the tenants out of the property, because here's a little sauce right here. when you have a property that's over 5 units, when a bank goes to give an appraisal on the property and when a bank goes to lend on a property, they now look at that property as a business, right? So they look at how much money is coming in, how much money is coming out, how many expenses do you have? So the current tenants, and I know this because I'm a licensed real estate broker, right? Who has sold hundreds of multifamilies on the open market, and sellers get killed when they go to sell a building. Like if you have an 8-unit property and rent is $1,600 and all of your tenants are paying $800, you're gonna sell it for probably $600,000 less, right, than what you would get if you had an 8-unit and all tenants were paying $1,600, right? So that's how it works. So I made sure to get all the tenants who were paying junk rent out of there. I put all new tenants in there. I did light renovations to the building, right? You know, I did all the outside stuff, little touch-ups in the units. So I spent a little bit of money, but not a lot, right? And so I value added the building about $250, and I already bought the deal with a $600,000 under market. Then I value added another $250. So appraisal comes back at 1.85. That's exactly where I knew it was gonna come back, right? I had broken down this entire deal. I'm gonna show you guys the appraisal right here. Boom, there you go. 1,850,000 for 141 High Street, North Attleboro. So that is the appraisal report, right? Here it is right here. All this stuff, boom, boom, boom. This is the entire commercial appraisal report. Sick. So there's the commercial appraisal. So I could have just sold it right there and made $850,000, but then I would lose having a great 7-unit property that's going to pay me rent until I die, right? And I'm 23 years old. So it's gonna make me a hell of a lot of money over, you know, the next, all these years that I'm alive. So I didn't want to sell it because I didn't really need the $850,000, you know, right away. Like there's only so many Lambos that you can buy. So I said, all right, well, let me go to another bank now, right? After I bought the property, now that it's worth 1.85 million, I'll go to a different bank and I'll say, hey bank, give me a loan on the property that I already have right here. And the bank, they gave me a 75% loan to value ratio on that property, right? So if it was 185, they gave me a loan for, I don't know, 1.3, I think is about where the math is, 1.250, I think it's like somewhere around there, 1.275, 75% of 1.85. So 1.85, I did it on a less cash out amount. I didn't cash it out at 1.85 because there was a better loan offer for me at 1.7. So I cashed it out 75% of 1.7 and I landed somewhere around 1.25. The bank was willing to give me a loan for 1.25, right? So the bank gives me a loan for 1.25, but I only owe $1 million. I only bought the property for $1 million, right? So the bank gives me a loan for $1,250,000, right? But I only owe $1 million. So that other $250,000, the bank writes me a check, right? And there's fees that come out of this for, you know, the lender and whatever. And so when fees come out and this and that, I walk away with $205,000 on the cash out refinance from purchasing the property, right? So I'll walk away with $205,000. And why I love doing this is because now I get to keep that multifamily. I get to always make rent on the thing for the rest of my life. And now I took out $205,000 from the property. So now I can go find 4 other 7 units, put $50,000 down on all 4 of them, buy, and then do the same cash out and then buy 4 more. So 4 turns into 16, and then it doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles, right? And that's how I was able to build my real estate portfolio so ridiculously fast. I mean, I'm 23 years old. I didn't start buying properties. I was a complete screw up in life. Literally just the most cooked, fried person ever in life until about like 21, right? Started buying properties, started ripping, and then I dialed in, and then I started doing stuff like this. But I was able to build such a big portfolio with so many units at such a young age because I was able to get severely undervalued deals and then cash out those deals to then go put my equity into other properties and then scale to the moon super, super fast. So that's it. That's the 205 bands on one deal. You can literally do this yourself if you'd like with this information. If you need help or if you want to go a little deeper with it, you should tap into Legacy Capital. You should tap into Legacy Capital and you can learn from me one-on-one. I would literally hold your hand and guide you until you do a deal like this. You get 24/7 access to me, literally all the time, every day. If I'm either like on the toilet taking a shit or dead or sleeping, you're not gonna reach me. Other than that, I'm up and ready to rip it every single day, bro. I'm a tank. I just go to the gym, you know, just rip real estate all day, just chill in my condo, you know what I'm saying? Just get 1% better, go crazy in the gym. Bolt coming in, but you guys already know. Light 205 bands, That's how I did it. So there you go, guys. Later.